Been on the show a million times over the years. One of our favorites for sure. Came up with the Lambeau Leap back in the day. 4-time All-Pro for the Packers. And that is Leroy Butler, who's obviously still on the scene. 1250 The Fan. Great safety and a great guy. Leroy, Tiki and Tierney, how you been, buddy?
How's it going, guys?
Good. Is everybody's feelings out there in Green Bay? Everything's smoothed over? Is Rodgers ready to, you know what I mean? What's going on?
Everything is all good. Ready for the preseason to be over, and that's over. The cuts are over. I mean, Rodgers didn't play last year in preseason. He was MVP. So they kept a lot of guys out there. I'll be very honest with you. Even Stokes, the first-round pick from Georgia at cornerback, he didn't play very much. There is an issue at offensive line, obviously, because of David Bakhtiari. So you may see a rookie, Royce Newman, playing guard. So it may be some challenges on the offensive line early.
Yeah, but the thing that everybody wants to know about is the relationship with Aaron Rodgers and the organization. Now, from what you read or hear, Leroy, that things may be getting a little bit better, that they're trying to, from a front office standpoint, re-engage with Aaron. What can we say about the relationship between Aaron Rodgers and the Packers front office?
Well, I think it's professional because I think everybody knows where each other stand now. I think that's why every time you see them at practice and they're standing there, he's standing next to Gutekunst, it's a picture, it goes viral. If he's hugging Matt LaFleur, it goes viral. But for the most part, LaFleur won. He's the coach. He said, I just want him into the building. Once you're in the building, because I think it came up on our show that maybe Gutekunst was like maybe talking to Aaron Rodgers about these final cuts and things of that nature. They're not to that level to where he has to check with them every time they make a move. He just said, listen, if we're going to start cooking these meals this year, just let me know what kind of seasoning you're putting in these dishes because I'm going to get blamed if we can't beat Tom Brady, okay?
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Other than that, they got full control over what's going on.
So we're talking to Leroy Butler, former great Packers safety, 4-time All-Pro, 1250 The Fan. So, the Randall Cobb stuff kind of threw us, I would say for a loop, but it's kind of like, what? I mean, I understand you want to throw some weight around, you want to flex, but I'm not saying Randall can't play at all, but is that the kind of player at this stage that you use all that leverage to bring in? Did that surprise you?
Well, it really did. It really did, because I don't think Ted Thompson would have done that. Matter of fact, I know he wouldn't have. I think for the most part, though, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is in Cobb's wedding, so they're really tight. I think for the most part, that slot position is a position that they haven't took advantage of. And I think that's what's been holding the offense back, although they were number one in the league. So they got a chance to, to get him back for, a seventh-round pick or something like that. And if they can do that and everybody's happy, I think they were willing to do it. And I think for the most part, it stabilized the locker room more than anything. So Randall Cobb, he'll be mentoring Amari Rodgers and some of these other guys. But that slot position is paramount in this offense.
But is he going to play? Like, is he going to catch some balls? Is he going to be active? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. He's
I got you.
Play. I mean, you may see him rotate in and out. Again, with Amari Rodgers, a third-round pick.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The other, guy that we think about is their elite wide receiver, Devante Adams, who kind of also was at an impasse with the Packers this offseason as they were trying to negotiate a contract, and it also feels like he's one and out the door with Aaron Rodgers. Where are they at with the relationship with their top wide receiver?
I think for the most part, this one's a little. It's a little touchy because if you want to be he actively said he wants to be the top wide receiver. That's at over $28 million. I don't know if the Packers are willing to do that at this particular time, especially if Jordan Love moving forward is your quarterback and they don't have any chemistry. But for the most part, they want to be able to get a deal done as soon as possible. Now, both sides say, well, we're not going to talk during the season. Never believe that, okay? For the most part, the Packers normally have a window to sign these guys before the regular season. So don't be surprised if you see his deal gets done either this weekend or next weekend.
Okay, there you go. There's a little nugget before the start of the season. So speaking of Jordan Love, we'd be remiss if we didn't at least get a quick encapsulation from what you saw. He was banged up for a little bit. So I don't know how much he actually put on tape, but what do you think he did to solidify his standing in the minds of the front office?
The thing about Jordan Love, I'm a big fan of Jordan Love. I like his size. I like his moxie. I like everything about him. Now, he did throw a lollipop up for an interception. That doesn't help, okay? But for the most part, he knows the offense. He runs everything according to what Matt LaFleur wants to do. So if some reason Aaron Rodgers can't play, I think he'll be fine to go in there to run the offense, don't make any bad throws, and for the most part, you have a top 10 defense that can help you. So let that great running game, the Aaron Jones, let those guys help you out. You don't need to go in there and be the hero. You need to go in there like a Band-Aid, just stop the bleeding. That's all back to quarterback.
Okay, but eventually you're going to have to be more than a Band-Aid if you, to validate the draft pick. But I got you.
Next year he stitches.
I got you. Yeah, exactly. And not a butterfly stitch, real stitches. So the NFC North is, listen, you don't have anything to worry about with the Lions you never have anything to worry about them, but maybe in a couple of years with Coach Campbell. Vikings are obviously very interesting. Chicago's great defense. What is between those two teams? Who is the more viable threat to the Packers' divisional throne? And would you have started Justin Fields in Chicago?
Two good questions. I'm going to say Minnesota with Dalvin Cook, and they have two of the best receivers, Allen Thielen and Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Irv Smith Jr. did get banged up, so they had to make a trade for a tight end. Now, if Kirk Cousins just don't do anything out of ordinary, they're going to hang around 10 games, okay? But for me, I would have started Fields because it'll let your fan base know I'm ready to move on. As long as Andy Dalton is there, you're running in place. You're not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I think for the most part, you may see that locker room split because the defensive guys may want Fields and the veteran guys may want Andy Dalton. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, good stuff. Remember, Tiki went through that back in the day where the offense wasn't putting points up. It happens to a lot of teams. The Ravens back in the day, it's a real thing. That is the great Leroy. That is the great Leroy Butler, our buddy, former safety for the Packers, 4-time All-Pro. He's with us here on Tiki and Tierney.
Now, their defense last year, your defense was pretty good last year. They were fifth in yards, but Mike Patton they move on from, and they bring in Joe Barry, who was at Detroit for a couple of times as a coordinator, and in Washington, and he wasn't good. What do we expect from this defense, which has some players? Darius Smith, who we always talk about and love, and Preston Smith on the other side. Rashawn Gary is there. They drafted a couple of years ago.
Big guy, yep.
Zaire Alexander in the secondary. I mean, they have some players. But what's the expectation for that side of the football? I mean, I think it's one of the reasons that they got to back-to-back NFC Championship games. But where are we at with that, especially with the new defensive coordinator?
I think the defense, you're going to see something different. They're going to run a lot of sub-packages. What I mean by that, you'll see three safeties out there at times. Sometimes you may see only one linebacker and a bunch of guys walking around. Next thing you know, he's blitzing 6 or 7 guys. They're going to take more chances with this defense. So you'll see Amos at safety. You'll see Savage at safety. But for the most part, you also see Jair Alexander cover more of the number one receiver and follow him all over the field.
Yeah.
That's going to give them more opportunity to get the quarterback down. Now, they will have to stop the run in that defense, and that's the reason why Garoppolo a couple of years ago only threw the ball 9 times and went on to the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden last year Tampa with Leonard Fournette did the same thing. So you got to stop the run.
Hey, by the way, before we let you go, did you hit any of those joint practices with the Jets?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just don't. You don't have to make it too long. I know it's about the Packers, but Tony Romo said some really interesting things about Zach Wilson. I'm a Jets fan. Zach Wilson can play, right? What did you see? Did you like the kid?
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Oh yeah. They made the right move with this. If Solomon, he's the right head coach too. You gotta give him an opportunity to run that offense. So yeah, the Jets gonna be pretty good.
My man.
Yeah.
Leroy.
I tell you the truth.
Oh, I know.
He's been a dud, I'd have told you.
Like all the other ones we drafted. Understood. Hey, man, we'll be talking during the season quite a bit, so when we call or text, make sure you hit us back, Leroy.
always do.
He always does. That's why you're the man. You're the man.
Appreciate
Thank
you,
Leroy. Appreciate you, bud.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.